All right, people of the world, how are we doing? Crypto people of the world. I don't know how many crypto people watching me, but fear is here, and fear is typically the best time to start paying attention to the market. So, anyway, while I am waiting for a few people, I am going to set this up quickly, but I'll be talking. So let's talk about today. I'm not sure how long I'm gonna be here. Depends on, hey, what's the mood for today? A lot of stuff going on, as you heard probably. Yesterday we apparently were striking Iran. Whatever. And scary for sure, right? Retaliation might be. Hey, what's up, Lionel? Haven't heard from you. Hopefully, you're doing well over there. Yeah. So hopefully everything's set up for you. But yeah, we could talk later. Anyway. But anyway, so yeah, U.S. strike Iran, and it's going to be something scary, and that's why I'm sure you see what's happening with crypto at the moment. Everything's going down. Fear entered the market once again, but again, not alarmingly depressing at the moment. So that's good. Okay, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Perfect. So we still have an uptrend going on here. I know people would like to say, "Oh, Bitcoin is crashing." Okay, crashing to what price? Like, look at the price. So, it's not much of a crashing at all. Now, if it puts a lower low than this area right here, okay, then okay, maybe you start to panic. But even then, though, like, you know, with a lot of interest from the institutional side of thing, I don't think it's going to stay low forever or long for a longer period of time here. So whatever amount in which you could accumulate based on this one, it's okay. Okay. It's again, do as you wish, in a sense that if you want to accumulate, make sure you do it responsibly. But yeah, bloodbath is going to be tomorrow. Panic, who knows? Apparently, there's setting, like they're shutting down some ports that are, responsible for 20% or more of oil, imports from that area. So just be ready for the gas price to go higher, right? And so that, yes, the initial shock there is going to be scary for sure. The drop and all that stuff. But again, if you've been preparing for this, nothing new here. Okay. Fear is usually the best time to buy. When it comes to stuff like this. That's why any company that has cash, okay, is going to be beneficial for this time period. And what perfect time, okay, what perfect time it is for GameStop to have $9 billion to deploy at this time. So people don't see the value of cash quite yet, and they're about to find out how valuable cash is in this time period. Okay. Now, again, just because they're not doing anything doesn't mean they're not going to do anything with the cash. Okay. So for those of you who are so up in arms about, oh, we're just sitting on a pile of cash, right? Understand the pile of cash is important for a reason. And I feel like this is the perfect timing for that. Like I said, again, you're about to find out, right? Excuse me. Ah. Hey guys, Rosen, what's up? What's up? Okay, Asa, what's up? Expected $15 a share. Shareholder equity. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. I think it's even more than that, right? I mean $9 billion market. I mean $9 billion cash from the two convertible notes. Did you account for the convertible notes or just non-convertible notes equity? Hold on, let me see if I should put this one up here so just to get an idea of what is going on. But anyway, okay, so here, so yeah, so the this is the total. I don't know why I put 7. Yeah, we so far we've been raising, through shares plus 2 bonds offering. We were able to accumulate around $7.2 billion. I can't even say the word. $7.2 billion worth of cash. And so those type of thing is going to be in the coffer, so to speak. It's available to deploy at any moment in time. Cash is really easy, right? To deploy. You don't need to wait for the deal to go through in order to put that money into work. But I really think that staying in bond can have a positive effects at the moment, because at the very least you get some form of interest coming from that particular bucket, right? And on top of that, because of the fear and uncertainty for tomorrow, people might flock into bonds now, or even Bitcoin. Who knows? This might be the time in which it's going to decouple. Bitcoin traditionally is traded based on kind of like following what the S&P 500 is doing for quite some time. So, but you could be sure that tomorrow news would be Bitcoin crashed 20%. Okay. In a day due to this, whatever conflict. Even 20%, you guys, think about this, okay? Just a matter of perspective, and people are gonna freak the heck out. I'm telling you. And if it's below this, they're gonna even freak out some more. I'm not gonna move an inch, for whatever reason, because I put, again, I don't have many Bitcoins here at all. Okay. Just enough to, I guess if it goes to $100 million in 30 years, I'll be fine. But it's more for a long-term thing, right? But don't get me wrong, I'm planning to accumulate, as much Bitcoin as possible when I have that lump sum. I just feel like, XRP has a better, narrative, better utility, better, I guess, percentage in terms of run. Now, of course, it's more risky than Bitcoin, right? Like altcoin, traditionally. So if Bitcoin goes down 25%, you could expect other coins to go down, 60% too. Okay. So, but again, as long as you still have the tokens and all that stuff, you will be able to capture that long term, long term gain or whatever from this. But any new capital obviously is going to be rushing in if it comes down lower than this. Now, of course, GME will have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin at a lower price, right? So win-win either way. I have GME, right, as a cash, I guess as a hedge to the cash position. Like currently, I don't have cash on my own self, but since I own GME, I trust leadership to deploy that cash at the right time for me. Okay, so technically, I do have cash because I have GME. So, it's a win-win type thing. And to me, again, leadership has better vantage point than me to decide, okay, when to sell, when to buy, and all that stuff too. So that's just my perspective. That's why I'm long term about GME so much more. So much more. Sorry, long term about GME for a long time is because of that. Trust in leadership. Okay, with convertible notes. Okay, $15. I'm thinking a little bit more, no? Because this is 7, and then we have our own equity as well. Well, let's go and look at it together here because I should know this, but I don't. Okay, so we have financials. We have shareholder equity down here somewhere. Okay, so currently, well, this most recent earning, we know that they have added. Okay, they have added more cash. Okay, but okay, so with this accounting, shareholder equity is only 11 for now. Okay, 11.15. But I wonder if it's not accounting for the debt. So of course, right now we have more debt. Just be prepared, okay? Be prepare for that negative news. How GME loaded a massive amount of debt in order to buy Bitcoin, something like that, right? And they will fail to mention every single time that it's a 0% interest. I'm telling you. So just be on the lookout for that one. But okay, so currently $11 a share. Net 10. Okay. So now with this one, I think they just take into account this. Okay, shareholder equity here. So for the debt, it's not considered to be an asset, quote unquote. And so that's why I feel like the accounting here is kind of a little bit flawed, but we'll go with $10 a share. Just to keep people happy, right? To underestimate the value that GME got. That's okay. I mean, again, that means that they will be missing the boat every single time because the company is way ahead of this. Due to their cash position, the zero interest debt, that they are able to accumulate. So these are technically cash for now. Okay, but again, they're not included in the shareholder equity. So book value is still at $10 per share, which is this still valid, I guess. If people want to at least have an idea of what is overvalue. This is just again based on my own assessment. 5 times book is pretty reasonable. So anything under 50, would be sufficient for me to always accumulate. And then in between, maybe slowly, like instead of going $100, all at once, you would just do, half of that or some portion of that. Whatever strategy that you have, you guys, like you're more in tune with your own personality, risk tolerance, and all that more than me. And so just do it responsibly, and you'll be fine. But again, the value is here. Bitcoin, addition, perhaps we're going to have the ability to deploy these, or at the very least, the $1.5 billion, that we have been raising for Bitcoin purposes, right? So since Bitcoin is below $100,000 right now, and again, fear tomorrow we might be able to scoop it up even lower price. Okay. When people are up in arm about GME's not buying enough Bitcoin, they will be, switching their tune pretty soon. Or at least, pretty much um, eating their words, so to speak. Who knows too? Like it could go the other way. Like maybe tomorrow everything's resolved, people feeling a lot better, and the market's gonna do well. Yeah. Every $1,000 is 3. Okay. Shares by $33. Every $1,000 is 33 shares. Yeah. So that's the conversion rate. I think the second one is 34, right? Because the price is a little bit lower. Kind of like a 90 cents difference here. But not by much, you guys. Like, what I would love leadership to do next time is to set the price. Why make WeWop to be the arbiter of price? Next time, just set your own price. Like, hey, I'm gonna sell at this conversion rate, right? At at $35 a share. So the conversion rate's gonna be less than 30, right? Something like that. So just up it yourself. Don't let the market decide the price. Because we know it's skewed for sure, right? There's no demand, so to speak. But they could take the demand out of the stock by driving the volume off exchange. And we know that for quite some time. So that's what I'm hoping leadership is going to do next. The next 2 quarters, right? Because, my speculation is that they're going to try to do it every single quarter. And so even making more convertible notes to be issued to do whatever we need to do in order to, thrive in the next phase of our lives, I guess, the company's lives. But yeah, again, hopefully this conflict is going to be ending soon, that we're not going to escalate, but I feel like, the retaliation is going to be happening. I don't think you can't, bomb people and expect them not to do anything, and then just, it's stupid for sure. But again, I don't know the situation around that area, but it's hard to weigh, but I feel like it's all a stage at the moment. Just my opinion. Who knows, right? They try to distract people from every single angle here. So um, perhaps again, this is just a distraction to print more money, or to be able to distract people from even holding GameStop. Who knows, right? Because everything is about GameStop. I know. People are gonna be like, these people. GME is the center of the universe, for sure. Okay, roughly, you mean roughly? Okay, so 600 million shares. I know, fully diluted, right? Fully diluted. We still have, yeah, roughly there. But again, that's 5 years from now. If the share price is still below 30, they won't be able to convert, I don't think. Or they will be able to convert, but anything lower than $28, they will be either having to convert at a loss or just get their money back. So pretty genius, I think. But I feel like, again, like if you have $5 billion for 5 years, I think you're gonna make at least something out of it. Even if you make only 1% off of that, you know, interest, it's still a money that you didn't have before. Will it beat the inflation? That's remained to be seen. Obviously, with this war, if it's exacerbated to other countries joining in, um, you know, dollar's gonna have to be printed, print. So yeah, I mean, again, traditionally that's good for oil, gas, commodity, and all that stuff. I think that's why people were positioning for oil to be, you know. So somebody knows. They already positioned their trades and getting ready for what to come tomorrow. Only retail. No, I wouldn't know anything, but my hope is that GameStop leadership could deploy that cash, and we've been kind of speculated that, or at least expecting it to happen in this way. Why else would anyone save that much cash if they're not worrying about some conflict that's about to happen, and aware of the situation, um, worry about the situation all around the world here. I have to say, this is the playbook, so be ready. Mm-hmm. I know. Only one company I feel that is ready for this type of situation here. And again, that's why we have not been spending, you guys. Like, come on. The company has been very stingy, okay, in information, plus also in the way that they are operating their balance sheets here, because their asset means everything when you are in a chaotic world and you don't have any other means to take opportunity, because either you lost in the stock market or whatever, right? Because you were positioning yourself up here while the stock is down here. Okay, so that's going to be a bad situation. It's like, even if you have the opportunity to jump in at the low, you don't have the money to jump in at a low. Okay, so I feel like leadership has thought about this thoroughly already, that okay, when we have the opportunity to raise money, let's do it as much as we can. Save for the time when we have the opportunity to buy at a lower price. Okay, so this is how you should be training your thoughts process if you are investing in GME. And again, the people that are naysayers who think that GME is just a cash pile of whatever, right? SHIT. They are mistaken for sure, because now they hopefully people will see the opportunity here. in GME because they have a massive amount of cash here. You know, and again, they plan it perfectly, plan it so right. I'm not saying that they are, they know anything about this or not, but to have leadership that is fully aware of bad things might happen very quickly, and you have when there's a good time, people are feeling good about themselves. Make sure to at least um, have the smarts, the genius to raise money, right? And that's why we've been doing that aggressively here. Not only again to the detriment of the shareholder, that's what they would like you to think, okay? But in actuality, it's beneficial for shareholder to have leadership who's aware of the dynamic in the market, in the world at large in which the business is operating in. You're not living in a vacuum, obviously, so you're going to be affected by it. And so to better prepare for that, we've been cutting costs. We've been doing everything we can in order to stay positive, even though, a lot of negative press coming from that. But we're not catering to Wall Street likes and dislike, okay? Of course, Wall Street would want you to expand at all costs because they make money off of, share price going up at the expense of shareholder equity in the company, okay? And so they would pump it, to oblivion sometimes, to the upside, even though there's no asset backing it at all. And I have a video to explain that too. It's from a movie, Big Short. I'm sure you probably heard of it. Johnny, hey, I've never seen you here before. Welcome. If GME passes the node price, for example, go to $100, it would have to stay at 100 at that price for 23. Okay, 20 plus days before the note holder can cash in, right? I think so. Yeah, I mean not 100, but like above the convertible rate, which is 30, I think. But don't quote me on that. Go verify it yourself. But I believe so. I believe so. It would have to stay there for 20 days. But I think they have a premium too, right? They could convert now if they wanted to. I have to go look at it, in more detail. But from what I understand, I think it's like the convertible rate, which is 28 something. Yeah, 29 for the first one, 28 for the second one. But yeah, so I mean, again, to me, this company is insulated for sure for stuff like this. It's built, prepared for events like this to happen, and it's a testament to leadership for sure, right? And when people are telling you this leadership hasn't done anything, the thing that they have not done bring them this far. So imagine if they do something, right? That's a good thing. I'm telling you, like, people are going to be so surprised at what this leadership could do quietly. They're not there to show any off to anyone, on over promising but under deliver every single time. Huh? So again, that's a scam too. That you have to understand that most of the company that they want you to buy has no asset backing it. Okay. Yes, there's hype associated with that. But you have to understand that these people are good with selling you bullshit. Okay. Now you might say like, oh, GME is a piece of shit, right? As a company, leadership doesn't do anything. Da, 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 da. So those are the narrative. What I implore people to do is to look at the company yourself balance sheets and all that stuff, don't read into the headline and think that you're going to know everything about the company already. So those type of headlines is only attracting a certain type of investor or a certain type of people who, again, just got into the market recently and they don't know what to, be buying. So they, look into the financial uh, uh, coverage in order to get an idea of what to buy. And more people will do that, but not many people have the ability to think for themselves because they think that these financial articles and professional that are all dressed up on TV talking about stock knows what they're talking about. And again, that's a scam, right? That's the misleading, misdirecting misinformation in order to confuse you and to make you feel like, oh, you don't know anything, even though you have a company that has this amount of cash. They still have some negative spin on it, as if it's like a terrible thing, right? And they've been having that thought since over here, right? And every step of the way, we're able to raise more and more money at the market offering. Like that's the most natural thing in the world that people who have publicly traded company could do, which is to take money from the public, right? Now, not every company is created equal, right? Not every leadership is created equal. So you have to know that. And so, again, financial news is there to give you an idea. But for you to make the investment, you have to at least learn how to, read the balance sheets yourself, learn to come up with your own conclusion, right? And again, just because I tell you it's a positive thing doesn't mean it's going to translate as a positive thing either. That's based on my assessment. Don't trust me because I might be wrong too, right? Like this convertible note, for example, I might not know anything about that. So just me trying to encourage you to look up those information yourself and try to understand it from the fundamental level. It's pretty simple, I feel. I know most people don't have time for that. I get it. And they feel so overwhelmed, and that's why, again, these financial news exists. They still make money because why? Because people are typically busy with their lives, and now you have all this conflict that is going on, kids and wife and all that stuff. So it's very hectic. I just talked to my sister yesterday, and yeah, she seems very hectic. Her life has been a bit stressful, more so than I saw her to be a couple years ago. Because again, interest rates is killing working class. So now she's adding more hours to her days of work. So she's been working 6 days a week. And no sleep. So man, so I mean, she's afloat. She's not, she's not struggling in terms of financially, like not having a job or anything like that. So it's not, I wouldn't say a good problem to have, but she has kids and all that stuff, so she needs to work as much as I can. I don't know why I go off of this tangent. My point is, not many people have that luxury to have the time to, go through all these balance sheets here. So that's why they feel so intimidating. But I promise you, if you learn how to balance your own, balance your own expenses, personally in your life, income pluses, minuses, the expenses, everything that you have from water bill to rent and all that stuff, and subtract it, and then whatever leftovers, that would be income statement, right? So it's kind of similar in that sense. I mean, with some different nuances, right? So now with these convertible notes, we used to only have common stock shares. Okay, one kind of shares that we have to deal with. So now we have different kind of shares that we have to at least study up, right? Or at least be aware of what that means, convertible notes, and what it means to, convert it. Is it a form of dilution? Is it a form of, beneficial? Is it going to be beneficial for the company or not? So that's for you to decide, depends on who you ask, I guess. I personally don't believe GME will squeeze, but will slowly run up to a much higher price like Tesla did. But if it's above those higher price, it will be long enough for us to be happy. Okay, yeah, of course. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe the squeeze will happen 10 years from now, right? Because they can't kick the can down the road anymore. Or there will be, stages in which they would allow a certain, certain close, a certain short position to be closed at moment's notice. But I think they already changed the rule, for shorts to be able to close after markets and all that stuff, right? Remember, it used to not be a thing where they cannot close after markets. But apparently some rules was changed. But still, I mean, the problem is still persists. I feel like, if that's the case where, okay, they could still close after market. However, if most people, on average, own a certain amount of shares and make, do the math for yourself. Let's say 1 million people hold GME, right? 1 million people, personal account. I think that's feasible. I mean, how many accounts are out there in the world? And that's not to mention the ETFs and all that stuff that are in there that supposedly should have GameStop shares in it. You've seen the XRT, go up and down the short, what is it, reg show or whatever they call it. And so that's some evidence of kind of using the ETF in order to short more company, more shares. Now, if a lot of people have been accumulating, for however long, I know personally myself, I have more shares now than I had 4 years ago, right? And we'll continue to, have more as time goes on. So with that, personal, I guess, personal inclination for me to accumulate, I imagine a lot of people would do that too. Is doing that as well. And again, that's not to mention the people that will come in the future too, right? Now that they are profitable, they feel more safe, to put money into the company, again, there's a lot of retail investor out there that are sitting on the sideline too, right? That they are waiting for the company to be profitable at least, so that the downside protection for them would be more, at least makes sense. Okay, now it makes sense for me to put money into to this company because at least they are profitable. So that's more to come. All that to say, if 1 million people own GME personally, on their own account, how many GME shares do you have to own the whole float? Right, on average, and so just like guys were saying, $600 million, 600 million shares, that's fully diluted, which is not really diluted yet. So the current float is actually 400 something, right? 447, I think. Let's look at it real quick here. Right here. Okay, so a little bit less than that. 443. So that means on average, people would only have to own 400 shares in their account personally to be able to own the whole float, right? Do you think any of us has only 400 million or 400 shares on our portfolio? I could tell you my personal account is 4 times more than this, right? Well, actually, wait, I'm trying to do math in my head. Yeah, 4 times. Let's do like a little bit more than 4 times. So yeah, that's my personal shares that I have. So it's very very easy for me to do that math and think that hey, there's more than the float being sold. But again, it could be hidden in some negative swap somewhere, right? Who knows? Will cash from sale of Canada came from equity? I think it would add to shareholder equity, I think, right? Either loss or gain, whether it's going to be in addition to it or uh, taking out of the shareholder equity if we are selling it at a loss, right? In terms of the business evaluation and whatnot. So we did have some asset write down here, from some of those, restructuring that we did on Italy and all that stuff. So I'm expecting some loss there to be had here. But again, not crippling at all. Once we're selling Canadian stores and France, we're gonna be able to breathe a little bit more than usual. So yeah, we're setting up to thrive for sure, you guys. Setting up to thrive. Anyway, so this is a clip from a movie, and it really did. Explain how these bets are going on. I'm sure it's still bets going on here. On the most on the stock market in and of itself, right? The tranches that they are, wrapping it in a, bonds or, derivatives, swaps, and all that stuff in order to give you some value here, okay? And these are packaging, okay? These financial, institutions, they are just selling you crap, okay? And whatever they're selling on TV, you better understand what you're buying into. And what they tell you is safe might not be safe. Okay, it's up to you to move your asset according to what you think is safe. And whether, if you trust these media outlet, you better verify that it actually is true. So, because again, they have so much incentive to mislead because they make more money, on that. So let's listen in.
That.
What?
What's that smell?
The cologne?
No.
Opportunity.
No. Money.
Oh, okay.
I smell money.
Okay.
Chris. God damn it.
Sorry.
This is your basic mortgage bond. All right? The originals were simple. They were just thousands of AAA mortgages bundled together, guaranteed by the U.S. government. The modern ones are different. They're private, and they're made up of layers of tranches. The highest level AAAs getting paid first, the lowest rated Bs getting paid last, taking on defaults first. Now, obviously, if you're buying Bs, you can make more money, but they're a little risky. Sometimes they fail. Chris? Somewhere along the line, these Bs and double Bs went from a little risky to dog shit. Where's the trash?
Behind you.
I'm talking rock bottom FICO scores. No income verification. Adjustable rates, dog shit. The default rates are already up from 1% to 4%, fellas. And if they rise to 8%, and they will, a lot of these triple Bs are going to 0 too. And that, you're too close, is an opportunity.
Okay, you're saying that at 8% the bonds fail and we are already at 4%?
That's right.
If they go to 8, it's Armageddon.
Yeah, that's right.
How come nobody's talking about this?
You're completely sure of the math.
Look at him. That's my quant.
You're what?
My quantitative. My math specialist. Look at him. You notice anything different about him? Look at his face.
That's pretty racist.
Look at his eyes. I'll give you a hint. His name's Yang. He won a national math competition in China. He doesn't even speak English. Yeah, I'm sure of the math.
Actually, my name's Jiang, and I do speak English. Jared likes to say I don't because he thinks it makes me seem more authentic. And I got second in that national math competition.
So you're offering us a chance to short this pile of blocks? How?
With something called a credit default swap. It's like insurance on the bond, and if it goes bust, you can make 10 to 1, even 20 to 1 return, and it's already slowly going bust.
10 to 1, 20 to 1? No way.
And no one's paying attention. No one is paying attention because the banks are too busy getting paid obscene fees to sell these bonds.
But wait, you are the bank.
See, that's the key. So when people are telling you, well, if GME is so great, why are they not talking about it? Well, they have financial incentive not to talk about it. So again, that's why people need to at least read between the line here. I'm not gonna finish the whole scene, but I'm sure you guys have looked into this already. But I'm just like, thinking in my head, hey, this is an example of, willfully ignorance for a reason, for the financial incentive. And these institutions, they are doing things not to your best interest, because it hasn't been your best interest. It's to their best interest to tell you that GME is not a good play, or at least a good company, until they're ready to tell you that. Not to say that they won't. I know eventually they're gonna come around because they accumulated many shares already to themselves, and as this convertible notes is going to play out later on, in the years to come. But again, like, GME has more of those, like, and perhaps that's going to be the squeeze, is when those institutions are either forced to convert or forced to get out of either forced to convert at a higher price, or have to close out their short position. Okay, in some way, and that's the only way to do it, is to buy the bond at a very bad rate of return. So, and people don't realize how much $1 billion is. Like, this is a lot of money, you guys. Like, I know, this share price here doesn't seem much to you at the moment, but this is going to buy us some time as a company to be able to build more foundation, even more, expand at this, incredibly difficult time. We're not going to, risk our capital, tens of billions of dollars over here, to do what? To give to the world of uncertainty? No. And so with this, again, chaotic things kind of happen, and good companies gonna go on sale, for sure. I mean, including GME, right? What happened if GME were to fall down to $15 a share? Do you think we're not gonna buy our own stock back? Like, yes, we have the ability to. That's why I'm speculating. I'm like, at least trying to hint to leadership, if they're listening. I know they are. I'm sure Ryan Cohen listened to my show for sure. that at least earmarked, $2 billion just to say, hey, now we have $2 billion to buy our own stock back if needed. And we don't even have to buy it. We just have that ability to do it, and nobody would be shorting this company anymore, right? Or they'll be scared to, because I mean, even at $15 a share, right? If the company were to buy $2 billion worth of $15 a share, the float's going to be a lot less. And then, with just that alone, you're actually profited off because you sold this much, right? You sold this much, but you buy it back at $15 a share. So just that action alone, these convertible notes, 2 of them would be able to be paid off in the long term. So again, solidifying the value of your share even more, or shareholder equity even more. But yeah, I mean, we have so many options, you guys, like to do whatever we want. And this is, again, the financial freedom that the company has. And we also have the option not to do anything. I mean, if you're not in the company already, I'm like, I don't know why. Remove 40 million shares of Ryan Cohen. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I didn't even account for that. Like the 400 shares per account times 1 million, that's more than enough than the float in of itself. So that's why I still believe that there's, shares out there that are not even there because we're all holding it. Crazy, huh? Right, correct. There you go. Hey, Edward, what's up? But anyway, so, the speculation is that, there's no speculation going on. It's just, we're waiting on the market to do its thing. Whether it's Bitcoin's going to come down to, whatever lowest level over here, freaking people out. While people are freaking out, we have $9 billion to do whatever we can, either to buy more Bitcoin or not. Still, I mean, we will still be fine in that aspect. But again, even if it comes down to like $90,000, we're still on an uptrend. Okay, so bear trend is only going to be breaking. Hold on, let me see. This is Bitcoin. Ever since, down here 2 years ago, best time to buy. Best time to buy when people are freaking out. Okay, always. So even if we're hitting this trend line here, we're still on an upturn, trajectory here. So what is that? That's going to be 30%. So tomorrow, 30% drawdown, the world's gonna end, right? And then, Bitcoin's gonna be going to zero. You're gonna hear a lot of that news going for the next month, to drive the maximum fear in the market. And that's when the best opportunity comes for you, for the company, for leadership to just snatch some of those cheap Bitcoin, huh? When people are like, "Yeah, should I buy more Bitcoin now?" It's like, I have cash to buy even more than you expected them to do it. With less cash too, right? Pretty crazy. Uh-oh. Why are we redacting the, is it because algorithm? I feel like algorithm just remove your message. Yeah, they don't want people to know, right? The whole float idea and the whole float breaks down. I don't think this video is going to get promoted either, so good luck. If you're the lucky few to hear this video, you might be, the lucky one. Anyway, so yeah, we are on the, I guess, falling wedge of some sort, long-term falling wedge here. Perfection, perfection. So the lowest would be over here. So let me just see how, okay, 30%. Yeah, 32% would freak the heck out of people. And it would still be kind of, what is the all-time high for the last time, right here. So to me, that's healthy, right? Healthy retracement of some sort. Back testing, right? It breaks. Back testing. Of course, I thought it was going to do this, right? But it seems like it's going to do this. Since the next one would be this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Boom. I think I'm calling it. Let's make it golden, huh? Yellow. Okay. Golden. Boom. Best TA ever, you don't even have to pay for it. But again, hey, speculation, don't make any trade based on this. Don't be crazy, okay? The point is that, again, fear, uncertainty, and doubt is the best time to buy. When people are telling you to run away from something, make sure, to at least look to your left before you run to the right, You might be safer in the left anyway. All right. All institutional ownership is actually shares of retail. What do you think? Right. Yes. Exactly. In some form of ETFs, right? Or some inactive account, passive investing account, 401k of some sort. But yeah, but I think the shares that is sitting on your brokerage account, whichever brokerage that you own, are synthetic, or at least fake, in my opinion. Again, my opinion only. I don't have any proof. Don't be crazy, okay? Don't be crazy. But again, it's just the math, right? I just can't imagine that it would be that way. But again, that's assuming that 1 million people actually own GME, right? Or would own GME. So my speculation might be way off on that. Maybe there's only 100,000 people actually own GME. Like, again, why 100,000? Because of the DL what is it? DRS account that are DRSing their shares. I think, is it still at 100,000 account individually that are registering with DRS their shares and all that stuff? All right, so if you say that those people are the one, I don't need DRS my shares, so I'm not part of that pot. But just think about the people that are not versus the people that are. So I would assume that people who are registering their shares are hardcore. Like there are, so those are 1% of people. Because again, like, well, let's say 10%. You say like the most population that are crazy about this company. So if you think that it's 10%, then the rest of the shareholders are not as crazy. And so there's a curve, a bell curve of some sort. Right? So if you look at the here, I guess this is statistic. Okay, you have this bell curve. You have some people who are crazy. Okay, crazy 10%, and the 10% on this side who are not so crazy. Okay, and then somewhere in the middle you have 80%. Okay, so the 80% are the people that are buying and selling. That could be true. And then you have this 10%, which I feel like the DRS people, DRS people, that are in this 10%. Okay. Now, whether these group of people who are buying and selling, and this group of people are just, option traders, perhaps, right? They're crazy in gambling. That's terms for other people. Like betting on the stock to go up and down, or day traders, who knows, right? In and out every single day. And then you have that. So the makeup is that if this is true, where 10% are so fanatic, they are the ones that are DRSing. And if this number is 100,000 account, then the rest should be 1 million. So that's how I got 1 million from. Okay. Just based on this bell curve thing. Okay. There you go. I think that's math. It's good math, I feel. It's pretty reasonable to, to postulate. But anyway. Let's see. I guess that's it, you guys. I feel like that's all of the ideas I have. Are people still enthusiastic about Roy and Kitty? I'm sure. I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like he's still here. He has to be. Why not? Like, it's below his cost average, but he's unfollowed Ryan Cohen, so that might be a sign that he's actually fed up. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like whatever happens, the company will still be fine, will still be okay. But what is this? Physical, okay. Still have in Japan. Oh, abandoned one. Okay, what else is new? I think people were trying something. I'm just gonna doom scrolling with you guys here. Just give me 1 minute. Just making sure I don't forget any ideas. Not quite sure what this is. I'm trying to like read this thing. I have no idea. Mic check slightly cut off. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Okay, can you hear me better? Oh, you know what? Because I did not speak. Maybe perhaps when you jump in, I didn't speak at all. Like I said, I was just I'm kind of getting ready to go. So you might have to play back the show if you want to. I would say don't waste your time. It's okay. You have a good investment already. GME's gonna do fine. I know the war is happening. I know people are pulling hair right now. Who knows if it's escalate? Just expect a red day. Tomorrow, fear entering to the market. And maybe this is the time for GME to do some amazing thing. Buying a whole bunch of good companies out there that are in trouble either because they are doing way too much debt and they need some help, right? Good companies. I'm not saying, the company that are heavily in debt and has no growth, no value, no anything to add to society. So perhaps some, private equity or private company will need some cash in order to, grow their company, and we could help them in some way, to grow their company in a, pragmatic way, that are not conducive to what, Wall Street would want. Okay. Aggressively screwing over shareholder, like common stock shareholder, and carving, sucking value to support themselves, to support their own personal gain. Okay, so there's a lot of executive out there that are doing that. So with Jimmy, you don't have to worry about that. I mean, hopefully, right? Evidently, you could kind of gauge yourself whether you like this type of leadership or not. But to me, hey, if he's putting his money where his mouth is, all the shares that Ryan Cohen have accumulated thus far in GME is his own money. Okay, so that says a lot. He didn't have any rewarded shares, no salary. So keep that in mind, okay? And when you're saying he's diluting, he's also diluting himself, okay? But all the pies get bigger, okay? Wouldn't you rather own 10%? So are you telling me you would rather own 10% of a company that only have a market cap of $1 billion? Okay, so let's say you have 10%. Okay, 10% of $1 billion. Is that 1 billion? Before I let you go, let me go torture you with my math over here. Okay, so 1 billion. 3 more. There you go. So $1 billion. So you own 10% of 1 billion. Now we have $9 billion worth of assets. Okay. Oops. Let's do 9 billion. Ballpark here. Just to stay cute. So 5%. Okay, let's do 5%. Yes, you have less percentage, but the dollar amount is a lot higher, you guys. Okay. So if you do that math, right, I guarantee you would want to own this 5% of a company that has asset of $9 billion, even though the other company has 10%. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because this is what dilution means. Okay, sorry. The 9. Let me try to do this math here. Okay, so let's do this. This times 9. That's $9 billion. Okay, and then you 5% of that is this. 10%. Hold on, actually. Oh man, I can't. So 10% of this would be $100 million. Okay. So notably, 100. Would you rather have $100 million or $450 million? I bet you anything you would want more money. Yes, you have less of the company, but that less amount, because it's been quote unquote diluted so much, your company gets bigger and bigger in terms of market cap or in terms of shareholder equity. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Don't believe in the, people telling you anything. And again, just because I think it's good for you to own GME doesn't mean that you should either. So do your own research. You do you. And yeah, just be safe, you guys. Be safe. Yeah, I'll let you go. I will see you when I see you. Okay, bye.